This has been a presentation of NBC Sports, the leader in innovative sports television.
I'm Jane Pauley. Tomorrow morning on Today, Treasury Secretary James Baker, also track stars Mary Decker Slaney and Zola Budd, and Disneyland's 30th birthday. Tomorrow morning on Today.
I'm Paul Major.
And I'm Diana Pierce. Coming up on News 11, trapped by a wall of fire, an exclusive report from the front lines.
The first pitch signals the start of the 56th annual All-Star Game. We'll have live reports. Also an investigative report on the forgotten vets, women who volunteered in Vietnam.
And on News 11 Extra, a family tries to live one day at a time and cope with an unthinkable loss. News 11 is next.
Now, from the action center of the Twin Cities, News 11 with Paul Majors, Diana Pierce, Tom Ryther on sports, and meteorologist Paul Douglas.
Good evening. The All-Star celebrations have begun. The 1985 All-Star Game is history.
But an exclusive report about a raging, dangerous fire tops tonight's News 11.
It's a fire that's burning out of control tonight, very close to California's Big Sur, a fire that was almost under control. News 11 reporter Dennis Stauffer and photographer Jeff Crocker were covering Minnesota fire crews as they helped battle the blaze when they were trapped by a wall of flames that turned the fire into a raging inferno. Here's their exclusive report.
Fighting a forest fire at night. One job that goes on around the clock, just like the fire itself. To get to this fire, 7 20-man crews are climbing several miles up a mountain in the Los Padres National Forest of California. Photographer Jeff Crocker and I are also along because one of those teams is the Minnesota 2 crew.
We're all flatlanders. This is kind of a strange experience to see all these mountains like this. All in all, it's a pretty good experience for all of us guys that are out here. It's kind of a chance that it might be a once-in-a-life chance of a deal to come out here on.
The assignment tonight is to hold the fire behind a 2.5-mile-long fire line, a dirt swatch cut through the wilderness by bulldozer and by hand.
Watch for spots on the left.
These men and women will attack any fire that crosses that line, but must also see to it that the fire side of the line burns thoroughly, leaving no unburnt fuel behind. The work here tonight is especially critical because the fire crossed one of these lines earlier today. When it happened, we learned firsthand just what kind of danger these firefighters face every time they're out here. We were on another ridge taking pictures of these flames when firefighters decided they could no longer hold them back. The main body of the fire was heading straight for us. But unlike the firefighters, we didn't yet realize our lives were in danger.
Getting ready to come up here, and we gotta get...
The decision is made to pull out, but there's a lot of heavy equipment to be turned around on a one-lane dirt road. The only escape is back down the mountain, and the fire is getting ever closer. The big trucks get out, but our car and another one are further up the road. We're cut off. A fire like this is so intense it makes its own wind, and you can hear it howl.
You gonna try and go down?
The first wave of the fire passes, but to make a run for it, we still have to navigate through blinding smoke.
Okay. Right through here. Yeah, you're going. Okay, I think we made it.
Yeah. We're out of harm's way, but you know, we came real close to being pinched into a spot where the fire would have killed us, too.
This was the third time this fire has jumped the line, which means we're not the only ones beating a fast retreat. Firefighters will have to establish a new line further back and again try to contain it. But we're out, and we don't have to go back in. The firefighters who do can only hope to make it out as safely as we did. Dennis Stauffer, News 11 in the Los Padres National Forest.
And in the Black Hills of South Dakota, fires are blackening thousands of acres. Range and forest fires are to blame for charring 22,000 acres so far, and the governor has declared a state of emergency. 300 firefighters from all over the country are fighting the flames and working 14-hour shifts. In Cedar Rapids, Iowa, a cloud of poison forced 10,000 people from their homes. The fire broke out in an abandoned sewer plant, and burning plastic sent a huge plume of toxic smoke billowing into the air. Dozens of people suffered throat and eye irritations, and the evacuations began. The streets of Cedar Rapids were empty. It looked like a ghost town. Late today, bulldozers were able to smother the fire. People are returning to their homes tonight.
Well, the game Minnesota has waited 20 years to host is history now. The All-Star game is over.
Fans are spilling out of the Metrodome. Players are consoling or congratulating, depending on which side they're on.
The first pitches of the historic game were thrown out at 7:30 tonight. Pete Rose and Nolan Ryan got the simultaneous honors. And Tom Rairdon has the honor of joining us right now with more on the game from the Dome. Tommy?
Well, Paul and Diana, it's almost hard to believe that the All-Star game is over after all of the pregame build-up, and it was an exciting night. Unless if you were rooting for the American League, that was perhaps the only letdown. But really, some of the living legends of the baseball world pay the visit here. We'll never forget it, playing in the 56th All-Star game in front of a packed house. In fact, the biggest crowd ever to see a baseball game in Minnesota, 54,960 in the final score, the National League winning it by a score of 6-1. Now, before the game, both sides were introduced with our own local hero receiving a standing ovation.
From the Minnesota Twins, number 24, outfielder Tom Rairdon.
Here's the run that made the difference, however, in the third inning. San Diego's Steve Garvey, a base hit. Tommy Herr of the Cardinals comes around to score. That made it 2-1 National League off Jack Morris, and that turned out to be the winner, and the NL winning it 6-1. We'll have more highlights and a special guest coming up momentarily in sports, but right now let's go live to Dale Shornack, who was outside the Metrodome.
Well, Tom, this is the kind of game where fans started leaving during the 8th inning. I think they were probably American leaguers, but right now thousands of fans pouring outside the Metrodome. Let's talk to some of them. What did you think of the game tonight?
Would have been a lot better if the American League would have won, but we'll be happy. I was happy to be here and happy to be in the ballpark.
Was it still exciting for you?
Oh, yeah. It's an honor being here. It's just,
Hi, Ma.
I'm ready in 10 years to be here, or 20 years. Let's get it back here.
How about you? What'd you think of the game?
It was a good game, and everything, even though the National League won, it was a good game.
Have you seen a game in the Dome before?
Yes, about five this year, probably 5 every year.
Did you see the players having any problems tonight with bouncing balls on the turf?
I thought they handled the field real well. A few times they were a little tentative in the field, but besides that, nothing too spectacular.
All righty, we got any National League fans here? Oh, no, that's probably a good sign. What did you think of the game?
I thought it was fair. I think it could have been a little more exciting. A little more hitting, home runs, that kind of deal.
Okay, fine. Most of these people apparently American League fans, and a little bit disappointed with the outcome of the game. Well, you know, it's been 20 years since an All-Star game has been played in the cities, and this is an event that Minnesota fans especially have looked forward to for a long time. Right now, Andrea Shane leads the team report on the 56th annual All-Star game and its impact.
The fans came by the thousands, some in style, some on foot, others in fashion.
How you doing?
And many right from work. Some came from Australia.
This is my first ball game. I'm bloody serious.
And they traveled from other places afar.
New York.
Washington.
Geneva, Switzerland. South Dakota.
Georgia.
We're from southern Minnesota, enjoying the game.
But the distance for these fans was gapped by the grasp of the All-American hot dog and beer. And as time grew closer to the game, people in the press box prepared for the plays, and the band primed the spectators. Before long, the sounds of what everyone came to hear were heard. And the cheers that seemed to go on forever weren't only for the players, but for a tradition that this crowd from all around the country could call their own. Cheers are also being heard from a crowd that's banking on this bonanza, as Mary Stuckey reports. These people have come to town to have a good time. They'll dance, dine, and entertain themselves, all the while pumping money into the local economy. Convention experts are being conservative when they say 20,000 people are coming in, especially for the game. It's estimated that each will spend about $500 over 3 days. Their total spending, more than $10 million. Who gets that money? Well, about $4 million goes to hotels, almost $3 million to restaurants not in hotels. Baseball fans will spend about $1 million in retail stores. The remaining $2.5 million will go for transportation and entertainment. Now, hotels outside downtown Minneapolis are benefiting because regular travelers will have to go to Bloomington and St. Paul to get a room. All these baseball fans have to get around, so taxi companies, car rental firms, and even people who rent limousines are doing a box office business. Local airlines have also reaped a windfall, bringing all these folks to the Twin Cities. But it's not just big companies that benefit. Small ones, like newsstands, expect to cash in on visitors desperate for news of their hometowns. Once these folks have seen what we have to offer, state tourism promoters hope they'll come back to spend more money in Minnesota. Mary Stuckey, News 11 in Minneapolis.
Well, I think there's an unwritten rule in Minnesota that whenever you get 10,000 or more people together, you have to end the event with a fantastic fireworks display, and that's going to be happening here hopefully in a few minutes. They've got fireworks planned for the north side of the dome, a display that's supposed to be spectacular and will be lasting about 10 to 15 minutes, but it hasn't started yet, and we've got a few fans at least hanging around for it, and we'll turn this right now back to you, Paul and Diana, in the studio.
All right, Dale, we'll check back with you a little later. Well, of course, not all baseball buffs were at the Dome. Janet Mason has a story of the All-Star fans who found their own way to watch and celebrate.
Bars across the Twin Cities were packed with baseball fans who couldn't get tickets to the game.
Oh, I like to be down there. It only happens once every 20 years or whatever, and it'd be worth the money. No, I like it here. You don't miss any plays.
This seemed to be the next best thing to baseball at the Dome. There was plenty of beer, popcorn, peanuts, and baseball with friends.
More fun with friends, getting in with the fans, cheering them on.
One bar even put up bleachers in front of a big screen TV. There was even a wave as enthusiastic as any at the Dome. Janet Mason, News 11.
And some of baseball's all-stars spent the day before practicing and playing the game visiting children. Atlanta's Dale Murphy was the first all-star to arrive at the St. Joseph's Home for Children. He was quickly bombarded by requests for autographed baseballs. Also, Toronto Blue Jays' Jimmy Key and Ernie Witt had plenty to contend with. And the visit was not only a thrill for the kids, but for the players as well.
This is more important in the game.
It's a thrill for me to come see them.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm real excited.
Soon the fun was over and the All-Stars had to think about the night's game while the kids had a day they'll never forget.
When we come back, polling for a speedy recovery.
Also, Live Aid pulls in more millions than anyone expected.
And on News 11 Extra, a family tries to put its life back together, but there's an empty space, a void left by a missing daughter. That story and more still to come.
The credit package is right for them, but that's not enough.
Not enough? What do you mean?
Look, there's a lot more we can do for them.
Like what?
Let's evaluate.
At the business banks, we don't just lend you money. We give you creative ideas that can help you make your business grow. In fact, there's only one place where you can expect this extra effort. The First Banks. We are the business banks, where your business belongs.
What are some of the things you can do because of electricity?
Play with my electric train and my pinball machine. I listen to Chopin on the radio. I like anything that's cooked. I like to watch Benji. I blow dry my hair like the big guys. I just like to make malted milk. Wow.
When you think about it, we can do a lot of things because of electricity.
At Red Lobster, you know you're getting only the freshest fish because the ocean rewrites our menu all the time.
There's never been a better time, never been a better place.
Red Lobster's just filled with delicious fresh fish and seafood. So it's no wonder the fish aren't the only ones biting.
There's never been a better time for seafood. Red Lobster for seafood.
Mount Hood, Oregon and Old Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. Mount Hood means the best summer skiing in America. And Old Milwaukee means a great beer. Cold, crisp Old Milwaukee beer and smooth, golden Old Milwaukee Light. And Old Milwaukee Light.
Taste is greater than rain.
Man, it doesn't get any better than this.
President Reagan, recovering from surgery that removed a cancerous polyp, is calling his wife a real trooper. Today, the First Lady brought in a bundle of balloons to Bethesda Naval Hospital as a sign of optimism. The Reagans found out about the president's cancerous colon yesterday, and now Mrs. Reagan is spending as much time as she can at the hospital while the president recovers.
A rare event tops Datelines tonight. For the first time, the people of the Soviet Union are seeing what it's like in Afghanistan. Television pictures from the front line are being shown. The Soviets have been fighting Afghan rebels for 6 years now, and this is the first glimpse the Soviet people have had. In Washington, dramatic testimony from an American actor who recently got out of prison in Great Britain. Stacey Keach told a House panel of his horrifying addiction to cocaine, an addiction he was only able to overcome after he was arrested for possession in London. Keach stars in the CBS series Mike Hammer. And the Live Aid concert is making history 3 days after the international event itself. The musical fundraiser for the starving people in Africa has raised more than $70 million so far. Phone calls are still pouring in, and many people are mailing in millions of dollars in contributions.
And around here, people are mailing in requests for rainfall.
That's right. Could I interest you in a few scrawny showers? We'll take what we can get at this point. I still think there's a better than 50-50 chance your lawn will get a heavy dousing over the next 2 to 3 days.
It needs it.
It sure does. Some great news. Meanwhile, some of my colleagues down at the Hurricane Forecast Center in Miami are tugging at their gray hairs and massaging their ulcers. They're concerned about the potential for a disaster along the East Coast and the Gulf Coast. Do you realize the population along the coast has almost quadrupled over the past 20 years, but most of those people haven't experienced a hurricane. Sometimes when the ocean waters heat up rapidly, thunderstorms can become cancerous, multiplying almost exponentially into raging windstorms that we call tropical storms and hurricanes. And we do have a tropical storm this evening, the first of the season, near Bermuda. The far right part of your screen, that red dot is Bermuda. And Ana is 150 miles west-southwest of Bermuda, 40 to 50 mile an hour winds moving north-northwest at 6 miles an hour. With that spelling, I'm not sure if it's Ana or Ana. If winds reach 74 miles an hour, we will have Hurricane Ana. Take your pick. And there's the list, the rest of the names for 1985. See if you're on that list. They alternate male, female, and Anglo-Saxon Spanish. So everybody gets a shot. I don't think we'll make it to Wanda. Closer to home, there are some severe weather problems in northwestern Minnesota. Still a severe storm watch in effect until 11 o'clock tonight. And there is a severe storm warning for Clay County. Reports of 1-inch hail near Ada, Minnesota. If you live up near Crookston, Fargo, that area, they could get a real beating weather-wise over the next few minutes. That warning in effect till 11:30 for Clay County. Earlier today in the backyard, another beautiful day. Splendiferous. 86 was the high as we take a live shot down at the dome. The low 56. No precip yet. Sunrise at 5:41. Cloudy now and 77. A southeast wind at 7 miles an hour. The dew point 56. The humidity 48. The pressure 3008 and steady. Nothing severe on Doppler 11, no pink within 60 miles of the Twin Cities. A couple of light showers, light to moderate, from Anoka eastward to Amory, Wisconsin. Since 4 o'clock this afternoon, some huge thunderstorms have mushroomed to our west. Flooding rains in Winter, South Dakota. As much as 4 inches of rain in portions of Nebraska over the past couple of hours. Meanwhile, flooding in Atlanta. 60-mile-an-hour winds in Asheville, North Carolina. A couple of tornadoes in Nebraska. The heaviest weather seems to be sliding off to our north. The greatest chance of a gusty thunderstorm will come in northern Minnesota. 46 this morning, International Falls. It warmed up nicely to our west. And this shoving match between cool and warm will set the stage for off and on heavy thunderstorms over the next 24 hours. This front is going to stall right over us tomorrow, and the result is going to be a good chance of showers and thunderstorms, with the heaviest threat coming just to the north of the Twin Cities. By now, you are painfully aware of the fact that it is too dry in the Twin Cities. Rainfall amounts 1/17 of what they should be. During a typical July, we see over 3.5 inches of rain. We've only seen 700 so far this month. The record for dry Julys back in 1936, when only 1/1100ths of an inch of rain fell. As you can see, much of America is much, much too dry. All those yellow areas are very dry, and that's why we're happy about the forecast. It's coming up next.
A spill. An oil spill is a problem these unique 3M blown microfibers solve. But then, 3M scientists, using the fiber's good insulating potential, turned the same technology into a different idea. Thinsulate thermal insulation, and winter wear got slimmer and warmer. We encourage such mind-stretching at 3M. We probe and explore, and we listen. And one idea leads to another at 3M.
Your Toyota dealer's out to bust his sales record for this month with the biggest inventory of trucks ever. Everyone priced to sell fast, so make your record-busting deal in a tough Toyota truck or cargo van. Factory incentives to dealers on selected truck models and cargo vans could save you more bucks. Need a truck? See your Toyota dealer first and make a record-busting deal for the biggest inventory of Toyota trucks ever. The Toyota Truck Sales Buster. Don't miss out.
The problem with quackgrass is it doesn't look like a problem.
until you get to the root of it. These rhizomes can spread over 300 feet in a year. Try tilling them out and you'll only spread the problem. But Roundup this fall can prevent quackgrass from stealing up to 50% of your yield next fall. At the 1 quart rate, you'll control quackgrass roots and all without carryover. When quackgrass is the problem, Roundup is your solution. Roundup herbicide, as affordable as it is effective.
WUSA 11 and WLOL present the video update Aquatennial Sky Concert.
Fantastic fireworks will dance to a musical medley of movie tunes Sunday, July 28th on the downtown Minneapolis riverfront.
A beautiful spectacle for the whole family. Bring your radio tuned to WLOL for the grand finale of the 1985 Minneapolis Aquatennial.
Sunday, July 28th, brought to you by WUSA 11, WLOL, and Video Update, your movie rental specialists.
Be there.
The backyard is a buggy adventure tonight, just like every night. Our mini drought has not affected the bug population of the backyard. Let's see if there's going to be anything else in our airwaves later on tonight. The forecast for tonight does call for partly cloudy skies, a pretty good chance of a thunderstorm towards morning, a low in the mid-60s. And then tomorrow, partly sunny, thunderstorms likely, especially late in the day, a high near 90, a steamy day on the way. Your 11 outlook, thunder showers Thursday into a portion of Friday as that front hangs on right over top of us. Saturday should clear out, partly sunny skies, and a high temperature near 80 degrees. So again, a pretty good chance that we will see at least a ½ an inch of rain before this front finally moves out late in the week. Paul and Diana, fingers and eyes are crossed.
Absolutely. If you give us the rain, my yard would like to give you a kiss. So
is that right?
You betcha.
Okay.
All righty.
Something to look forward to.
Absolutely.
Good night.
Thanks, Paul. If you're one of those people who takes advantage of every tax deduction you can find, take heed. The president could change things for you. Dollars and Cents editor Mary Stuckey has more in her series on the tax reform plan.
The president thinks the current tax law gives people all sorts of excuses to make up deductions. So President Reagan wants to set limits.
One deduction affected by the president's proposal, union dues. Currently, union dues are deductible if a taxpayer itemizes. The president wants to allow this deduction only if union dues and all of a taxpayer's other miscellaneous expenses exceed 1% of his income. For most taxpayers, this would mean fewer deductions.
The president thinks this would eliminate complicated record keeping, cut down on errors, and simply discourage people from making up deductions. Congress is expected to vote on the plan sometime this year. Mary Stuckey, News 11.
Tomorrow, a look at a proposal that will affect taxpayers who use professional tax preparers.
And we're going to go right back down to the Metrodome right now, and Dale Shornack, the fireworks are underway.
Well, that's right. This is the moment certainly a lot of people have been waiting for. A fantastic fireworks display just getting started behind us. We'll take a zoom in and show you what it looks like right now. Again, it's a display that will be lasting about 15 minutes, and it's accompanied to music and audio highlights of all-star games in the past, and that's broadcast on Real Radio 830. There's a lot of fans coming out of the dome still from the game, and many of them sitting around on the grass here enjoying the fireworks display. Right now we're not seeing any there, but it has been pretty spectacular. I would say several thousand fans just along this side of the dome are sitting on the grass. It's a beautiful night just to sit down and enjoy the fireworks. There were, by the way, 54,960 fans inside tonight to enjoy the ball game, and now many of them outside enjoying the fireworks. Certainly for the American leaguers, probably not enough fireworks in the baseball game. This is a grand finale to a very fine couple of days here in the Twin Cities. As Baseball Commissioner Peter Ueberroth said earlier, Houston will have a hard act to follow. Houston, Texas, of course, will host the All-Star Game next year. And Commissioner Ueberroth very pleased with how the Twin Cities handled this year's All-Star event.
Dale, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Where is this going on? It's north of the Metrodome?
The fireworks, I didn't quite hear all your question. These fireworks are taking place on the north side.
Right out in the
Metrodome.
A couple blocks up, right out in the street there, or what? Where is this going on?
It looks like just about a block north of the Metrodome. It would be really right over downtown Minneapolis.
Oh. That's got to be kind of
beautiful. They really are nice.
Hope they have some firefighters standing by down there.
Fortunately, it appears that most of the explosions are going off high enough in the air. That is true. Most of the fireworks displays, many of them, are over the Mississippi River or over the Capitol grounds. This is the first one I've seen over downtown Minneapolis, but we're just hoping that they've checked this out with fire officials. But again, it is a spectacular display.
It's a good night for it. Showing that, ooh.
That's right, and a few odds.
Yeah, thanks, Dale. Well, just ahead, the Forgotten Veterans, our series continues.
And an anniversary the world won't forget. Stay with us.
The condominiums of River Place, the ultimate urban escape.
Hi, I'm Armin Killebrew, and although you don't see me in the Twins lineup anymore, I can still play Twins baseball by dialing this local number, 1-976-1000.
True or false? Armin Killebrew wore no...
Answer 3 questions correctly and win 2 tickets to a Twins home game or merchandise.
Way back. It's gone. A home run. You're a winner at Twins baseball.
Take it from me, Armin Killebrew. Teleline Twins baseball is fun. Dial 1-976-1000 for your opportunity to win.
Everybody has clearances, but only Dodge has the knockout clearance with knockout deals on great Dodge cars and trucks, plus added savings with 8-8 financing or $400 cash back on selected Ram Tough Dodge pickups. Choose 8-8 financing for monthly payments as low as $157 a month, or choose $400 back direct from Dodge. Either way, you still get the only standard 5-year, 50,000-mile truck protection plan. Ford and Chevy, put the gloves on. Your Viking Land Dodge dealer.
In 1984, a Persian Gulf conflict threatened a world oil shortage.
I think we better alert the Secretary.
Investors called Merrill Lynch.
How does this affect the energy stocks?
Research has been covering the situation.
Take a look at this, Dave. This could really impact oil stocks.
Better check sources in the Middle East.
Facts clearly spell out that it was a political maneuver.
So the flow won't be interrupted.
More resources.
Here's the latest.
Better solutions.
Ah, that's good news.
Merrill Lynch people, a breed apart.
This is the 40th anniversary of the world's first nuclear bomb test. The first atomic explosion and mushroom cloud lit up the New Mexico skies near Alamogordo in July of 1945. Similar bombs were dropped in Japan at Nagasaki and Hiroshima a few weeks later, bringing about the end of World War II.
Most Vietnam veterans exposed to the toxic chemical Agent Orange have somewhere to turn, somewhere to get help for medical problems. But civilians who volunteered their time in the war effort have nowhere to go. Tonight, in the second part of his investigative series, Steve Wilson looks into what's being done for the forgotten veterans.
Victor Yanacone is the New York attorney who first represented Vietnam vets in their lawsuit against the makers of Agent Orange. And he says you didn't have to be a soldier in the jungle to be touched by the deadly chemical.
Because if you didn't spend the entire war in a bar in Saigon drinking bottled water and imported booze, you were exposed to dioxin-contaminated herbicides. If you ate native food, if you drank local water, you were exposed. That's how the majority of the veterans were exposed.
When I was overseas in Nam, I was always drinking milk, and someone told me recently that the milk that was over there was laced with water that had been polluted with Agent Orange. So you couldn't get away from it.
Maureen Nurley is one of the non-military victims we're telling you about this week, one of the 10,000 American women who volunteered to go there to serve the USO or the Red Cross or a handful of other organizations. Now, many of them are reporting the same kind of health problems ex-GIs say are related to Agent Orange.
We certainly are very interested and we're very concerned about what happens to them. We're following the studies very closely. And when...
I'm sorry, which studies are you following?
Well, any studies that are being made by the CDC in Atlanta.
They're not studying women, are they?
I don't know. I thought they were general studies.
The Centers for Disease Control is doing a large, careful study of the health of Vietnam vets. Military men, no civilians, no women are part of this research we'll tell you more about later this week. Civilian women who served say they've been left out altogether. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but when you tell me you're following the studies, we've researched the question pretty thoroughly. We don't know of any studies.
Well, no,
are we missing something?
I understand, no. You know far more about it than I do, I'm sure.
it's not their problem, is what they say. I find them very unresponsive and irresponsible when it comes to their dealing with their previous employees. I think they owe it to those of us who served for them in South Vietnam to at least provide information.
It's information the Red Cross claims it doesn't have. And at the USO...
Morally and ethically, I think we have an obligation. But if you have no resources with which to offer what they need, what can you do?
We found that even asking provokes an angry response. After our interview, Kincaid fired off 2 angry letters, calling the whole issue a Bush League story with no justifiable news cause. Lousy reporting, she wrote, and I'll make a concerted effort to get even. She said she was most angry because she didn't understand that her interview would be seen in Washington. It's not Bush League to Becky Peets or to Maureen Nurley or to others like them who say they need help.
So when the government takes an action that hurts American citizens, perhaps, the government has a responsibility.
He's tried and failed once, but he's still trying. A look at what the Congress may do to help when our report wraps up tomorrow. Steve Wilson, News 11 on Capitol Hill.
And tomorrow night, our investigative series wraps up with a look at the efforts to solve the problems of the victims of Agent Orange.
In just a moment, it'll be time for sports, and that means we'll go back to the Dome.
Tom Ryder will have a live report for us on tonight's game, as well as a whole bunch of other baseball stuff when we come right back.
Thousands of Twin Cityans are alive today because the doctors and nurses of 2 special hospitals have more experience in treating heart diseases than anyone else. Whether it's diagnosing, preventing, or treating heart problems, together, these 2 hospitals lead all the rest. Where do you find them? In the heart of the Twin Cities. United Hospital of St. Paul and Metropolitan Medical Center of Minneapolis, working together for you as Health One.
Do you know what it takes to look your best in glasses? The perfect frames. It's easy at the iWorks. This month only buy any frame and get one free.
It's all right here at the iWorks, the superstore of eyewear.
From our collection of over 4,000 frames in a wide range of prices,
to our extensive selection of affordable, high-quality contact lenses of virtually every type, the iWorks has it all.
The iWorks, looking your best and seeing your best at hard-to-beat prices.
Stop what you're doing right now.
Something's happening in the Twin Cities that you'll want to know about.
The grand opening of Mills Fleet Farm in Brooklyn Park.
You've never seen a store like this before. Over 240,000 square feet of values.
You could win this 1985 Ford Bronco 2 or thousands of other prizes.
There'll be demonstrations and clowns and balloons for the kids.
It's a grand opening you can't afford to miss.
Thursday through Sunday at Mills Fleet Farm.
Highway 169 and 85th Avenue North in Brooklyn Park.
They're getting all dressed up with only one place to go. Red Lobster Fest. It's the lobster party of the year with more than 20 lobster dishes, half under $8. It's everything from lop kebabs and langostino marinara to lobster louis and a Maine lobster feast. At Red Lobster Fest, there's never been a better time to have a good time with a lobster.
A Santa Claus sporting a familiar face is even in town for the All-Star Hoopla. The jolly old fella probably destroyed a few myths by arriving in a limo. But it turns out this isn't jolly old Nick. It's Willard, the wacky weatherman from NBC's Today Show, who went to Loring Park to show off a suit specially made for him by the tailors at the Guthrie Theater. The Today Show has been broadcasting from the Dome from the past 2 days.
And if you're a fan of the American League, you're just going to have to wait for another year. Tom, the National League has a death grip on the American League.
Well, what did I say from River Place yesterday? I said the National League would win. People said, well, how could that be? Because the American League has all the hitting, but in most cases, good pitching will stop good hitting, and that was the case tonight, and the National League didn't even have their ace, Joaquin Andujar. But it's been a great day for baseball, really. A great day for Minnesota. I think we really put our best foot forward to the nation and the world, I might add. This 56th All-Star game has been a very pleasant experience, the National League winning it before a crowd of 54,960, the largest crowd ever to see a game in the state of Minnesota. The National League winning it 6-1. Hoyt, the winning pitcher, he's also the MVP. And Morris, the tough luck loser. Highlights in the game, Kansas City's George Brett for the American League, a sacrifice fly in the first inning, scores New York's Ricky Henderson. And that made it 1-0 off Lamar Hoyt. White later went on to become the game's MVP, as I said. In the second, San Diego's Terry Kennedy, a base hit. Darryl Strawberry, the Mets, comes in to score, and that made it 1-1 off Jack Morris. In the third inning, and this was the hit that actually meant the difference, Steve Garvey, Colonel Clutch, a base hit. Tommy Herr of the St. Louis Cardinals comes in, and the National League led by a score of 2-1. In the fifth inning, the Phillies' Ozzie Virgil really got the icer, a 2-run single off Bert Blyleven. Virgil, now Blyleven backing up the plate, watch this. Well, you didn't see the plate anyway. They threw Virgil out at second base. And there you see Bruno bouncing out to Ozzie Smith. Bruno getting to play in the game, and here's the final out of the game. Goose Gossage strikes out Rich Gedman, and the National League wins it. With tonight's final, the National League All-Star Series looks like this. The NL has won 36 games, lost 19, tied 1. The American League 19, 36, and 1. Standing by live down on the field right now, Jeff Passolt with a very special guest.
All right, thanks a lot, Tom. Well, doggone it, I was picking the American League to win this one again, but they didn't do it. The National League continues their dominance. With me, Tom Bernansky of the Twins. Tom, congratulations, I guess, on your first All-Star game, but a disappointing outcome.
Well, I thought definitely when I looked around the clubhouse and saw the names on the lockers and the stats that they had accumulated over their careers, I thought we were going to get more than 4 hits tonight, but the National League came out and they shut us down and eventually won the ball game.
How about that standing ovation when they announced your name? You had to be on cloud 9.
Definitely. It was very exciting. It just seemed that they kept clapping and going on and on and on, and I just didn't really know what to do. George Brett had told me just go out there and keep tipping your hat until they stopped, so I went out there and kept doing it.
How long before you lose this feeling of euphoria that you got from the All-Star game?
Tomorrow's workout at 6:30. It's over with.
Well, good luck to you. Thanks again for stopping by to be with us. We enjoyed watching you play in the All-Star game, Bruno, and maybe we'll see you next year.
I hope to. Thank you very much.
All right, Tom Bernansky of the Twins. The American League did not win it, though. Tom, let's go back up to you.
All right, Jeff, it has been a grand day, and really congratulations to Bernansky. In the midst of all the baseball, the Vikings will open their 1985 camp on August 1st in Mankato, Minnesota, and a head count today reveals that the Vikings have signed just 4 of their 14 draft choices. Number 2 pick cornerback Isaac Holt from Alcorn State. He has signed. Top choice linebacker Chris Dolman from Pittsburgh remains unsigned, and no immediate hope in sight. A couple of notes now. Professional golfer Jack Nicklaus got his 13th career hole-in-one today, a practice round for the British Open, and it was a 156-yard hole, of course, par 3. And what else? Baseball to close out tonight. The Texas Rangers have traded Buddy Bell to the Cincinnati Reds for a couple of minor leaguers. That's good news for Bell because his dad played his Major League Baseball there, the famed Gus Bell. And, of course, tomorrow, News 11 at 5 and 6, we'll have more on the wrap-up of the 56th All-Star Game. Paul and Diana, back to you.
What did you enjoy best about tonight? What did you like the most?
Paul, I got to tell you, I was like a kid in a candy store. I stood down there on the field yesterday and today, and look around, there's Steve Garvey. Look around, there's Dave Parker. There's Dave Winfield. There's Paul Molitor. There's Ozzie Smith. I'm standing there. I will never grow up as long as baseball is around.
Yeah, you are a tremendous baseball fan. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thanks, Tom. Next on News 11 Extra, a family tries to recover.
But day-to-day life is doing little to dull the pain of a tragic loss, the loss of a young life. That story is next.
The sun and the fabulous warmth of solid gold from Gold Diggers, with the region's largest variety of fashion gold that captures summer. The special brilliance, the shimmer. Ah, perfect. In 14 or 18 karat solid gold from Gold Diggers, with fashion, selection, and values that are extraordinary every day. Like the days of summer, yours to keep forever. From Gold Diggers of City Center, Rosedale, Bonaventure, and Yorktown.
Ever since Midas introduced its muffler shops, there have been clones trying to copy our colors, uniforms, and prices. But the clones can't copy our quality. Ask them if they make their own mufflers. Stock 1,025 different mufflers and have a guarantee good in all 50 states. So while the other guys try to be Midas, there's only one real Midas. So why clone around?
Trust the Midas touch.
Witness the birth of a new star created through the joint effort of General Motors and Toyota. Nova, the best of both worlds from today's Chevrolet.
Hope your restaurant chain's doing better than you are.
It is. I've got myself a new long-distance company.
Substantial savings?
Up 70% on the road.
Helpful services?
Everything I need. Since I entered their World Series sweepstakes, I figure I'm going to get there. One way or the other.
Does phone company have a name?
Sprint.
Sugar!
Fire's print of the series sweepstakes ad in Monday's USA Today.
Nice talking to you.
Remember when TV went to color?
The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
With state-of-the-art technology, TV 11 is the first Twin Cities television station to broadcast in stereo 24 hours a day. Enjoy the energy, the comedy, the drama in stereo. Only on TV 11.
The search goes on tonight for the killers of 13-year-old Sarah Ann Rairdon. The Underwood teenager disappeared on May 20th, and her body was found on July 6th. Tonight on News 11 Extra, Alan Costantini tells us the town and her family have not forgotten.
Come on, come on, come on. Whack, 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 whack. Come on. Come on, come on. Whack, whack, whack. Get on here, lady. Go on now. They won't come if you're here.
His 13-year-old daughter, Sarah, was buried just a week ago. 38-year-old John Rairdon of Underwood could go back to his job and house on North Turtle Lake. He could feed the ducks and the chickens and try to forget. But the pain and the frustration of knowing someone snatched his little girl up a country road on the way home from school will not go away.
Just from hearing other people talk and stuff, there was people that I suspected, you know, it was really hard for me not to go and grab them and throw them up against the wall or something and get rough with them to really find out some answers. But it's so dangerous to do something like that because you might, you know, I'm not trained in that sort of thing, and I might end up doing in the wrong person, you know, so you got to be really careful.
Marilyn and John Rairdon are not ready to rest, not yet. Not while Sarah's killer or killers are still at large.
Does that sound okay if I get a hold of them and see, does next Thursday sound like a really, anybody have any conflicts there?
The Sarah Rairdon Committee meets at least weekly to map strategy in their new determination to fight kidnapping in their area and find Sarah's killer. Over Coke, coffee, and KARE jars of juice, insurance agents, mechanics, and even a county sheriff's deputy decide to offer $6,000 for the arrest and conviction of the guilty parties.
Should we set some figures, or should we pledge a third or two-thirds of that fund to the reward?
I think it should be stipulated that if that reward is not used, it'll go over to the Sarah Rairdon Fund.
More money will go for a scholarship in the teenagers' memory and education programs about strangers. The more money they raise, the more they will use.
The Rairdons know that people care. They've been getting cards like this one and these at the rate of about 40 or 50 a day from all over Minnesota and even other states. They've replied to about 500 already.
The Rairdons would like to try to get back to normal again. They have other children, after all, and they have their place in the country. But it doesn't feel as safe as it once did, and it is a world without Sarah. Alan Costantini, News 11, Underwood.
Contributions to the Sarah Ann Rairdon Fund are being accepted at the Farmers State Bank, Box 187, Underwood, Minnesota. The zip code is 56586.
Let's get a weather update from Paul.
Okay, we are trying to coax some rain out of a dry, dusty sky. Let's check Doppler 11. A couple of light showers sprouting up north and west of St. Cloud. Bigger storms farther north and west. Again, a severe storm warning for Clay County, including Moorhead, till 11:30. Some of the weather could be heavy and showers likely right through Thursday. Diana?
And finally tonight, old reels making way for new wheels. The Hopkins Theater, a local landmark for 44 years, played to its last audiences today. Its marquee spelling out its final farewell. Those who came for the theater's fleeting last moments waited in one last line for one last show. Coming attractions include a bulldozer making way for a car dealership.
It's time for us to make way for MASH. Thank you for joining us. We really do appreciate it, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow.
Good night.
I like this one better.
Why? I'm just curious.
Just tastes better.
Craig Brazil just picked Blatz Light over his regular light beer.
It's Miller Lite. Blatz Light just tastes better.
Really?
I'm usually a Miller Lite drinker. I'm very surprised.
Why?
Oh, it's beer capital of the world. Just a lot of different beers here, but here's my opportunity to try something different, and I was surprised. Blatz Light definitely tastes better.
Taste test Blatz Light yourself. Compare the quality, compare the price. And if you're a regular beer drinker, try Blatz Regular.
Well, Lee, what you think?
I think I dropped more one-liners than putts.
Hey, that's showbiz.
Yeah, but we were playing golf today. At least I can't miss with this.
Lee, you don't know anything about gasoline.
Don't have to. My car knows.
Why do more drivers rate Amoco Premium Lead-Free the highest quality gasoline? Your car knows.
Nice shot.
Best shot I made all day. I wish my car knew how to make those 3-foot putts.
Amoco, your car knows.
Kemp's knows how much you like almonds and chocolate, so they've coated crunchy toasted almonds with rich, pure Swiss chocolate and blended them with smooth and creamy vanilla to make Kemp's Vanilla Swiss Almond. It's like having your favorite toppings inside. Vanilla Swiss Almond, a new limited edition ice cream from Kemp's that tastes as good as you think it will.
While we're all asleep, his job begins with the sunrise. He brings the news with morning light, and when he's done, it's time to start the day right.
Our Rise and Shine biscuits are baked from scratch at the crack of dawn.
Once upon a time, there were 3 little
pigs, Grandpa.
pigs.
Can we watch television, Grandpa?
When it's as important as their eyesight, trust Pearl. The doctor will give them a thorough exam and the right prescription.
You'll see it in his eyes when his spirits start to rise. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.